They are selling me the rest of the base game for $30? Exclamation, question mark, exclamation, question mark, crying emoji, peace sign emoji, peace sign emoji, peace sign emoji, peace sign emoji. My God, people are not happy about Sparking Zero Neo. Let's talk about this. We're gonna have a, as always, nuanced discussion about the whole Sparking Zero Neo situation now that we've had a few days to digest this DLC. Obviously, a lot of us have not been able to play everything in it because this is massive, right? This is the biggest DLC we've probably ever seen for a Dragon Ball game. With this DLC, there's a lot you can actually do with it, okay? I have said this since we've seen the reveal of pretty much everything that was included in this. This is quite literally a sequel to Sparking Zero, right? It includes pretty much everything that Sparking Neo, aka Tenkaichi 2, kind of had, you know, that was added on to the original base game of Budokai Tenkaichi 1, right? That's basically how they used to do things, right? The games that they released maybe a year later after Tenkaichi 1, whatever, between the releases, they basically were just releasing us DLC packaged as an entire game. So you actually would spend $50 to $60 more a year later just to get some more characters, maybe a couple new game modes, maybe some more story. You know, that's basically what it was. The models and stuff, a lot of the animations in the game, they were all pretty much exactly the same, okay? And obviously they had some gameplay updates, right? Budokai Tenkaichi 1 to Tenkaichi 2, big difference, right? Big difference. And they've kind of done this here with DLC and patches, right? It's the same situation. So the anger that I've been seeing online from people, which I will have to say there is some validity to it. You know, people rightfully so should be kind of upset or even, you know, very upset about, you know, this being $35 that you have to pay again, right? For content that arguably should have been in the base game, right? I will agree. There are some things that they added in this specific DLC that could have easily been in the base game, right? But a lot of it, right? A lot of it is fresh and new, okay? And we're going to be talking about all of it here in this video. I will also be breaking down, obviously, what you're getting in this DLC and kind of giving you guys my own, like, review. I'm not going to do some, like, 8 out of 10, 10 out of 10, negative 15 out of 10. I'm not going to give it a score or anything. I'm going to, again, give you guys, like, a nuanced discussion, you know, a reasonable discussion about this DLC. And you... okay, you, the person who is watching this video, can decide whether or not this was worth it, if this is something that is interesting to you enough that you would spend $35, right? It's going to be different for everyone, okay? Some people are going to find that this DLC, you know, is more worth it to them than the other person, right? Because there are things in this DLC that some people don't give a fuck about, right? So let's talk about this. I made this tweet, you know, as a quote tweet to somebody else, because I think this is ridiculous. I personally think that this right here is ridiculous, what people are saying, okay? But again, there is validity. There is, you know, a discussion to be had about, you know, how people are feeling about this, okay? So one of the big arguments is, and I've seen this, and I shit you not, this was the Xenoverse 2 situation that we've had for 10 years. And this has become a meme at this point, okay? If you guys have been following my channel for a very long time, you know this is a comment that I'm so tired of seeing from people. And it's the, oh, I bought the Ultimate Edition and I got the season. Is it included in the Season Pass? Why is this not included in the Season Pass, okay? Now, if you have eyes and you read, okay, you read what was included in the Deluxe and the Ultimate Edition and what specifically was included in the Season Pass, you would know that anything beyond DLC 3, anything beyond 2025's DLC season, a season pass, right, would not be included, okay? Again, I understand if you're new to how all this stuff works with Dragon Ball content and just DLC content, what season passes, okay? Like when you get a season pass for fucking like an amusement park, like Six Flags or whatever, right? Like for an example, okay? You're paying for the whole season, okay? You're paying that one time for that whole season, and you can go, like, what, as many times as you want or whatever, okay? Then the next season begins, and you gotta buy it again, right? It's not this, like, infinite, like, oh, forever, I can just constantly get shit for free. Like, that's just not how that works. That's not how the world works. It never has been. You know, that would be awesome, right? I wish it was like that, but let's be real. Let's be realistic, okay? So, yeah, it's 2026, and people still think that a season pass means you just get the free infinite DLC for the entirety of a video game's lifespan. I'm sorry, that's not what this is, okay? And they quite literally show you what's included, okay? Deluxe Edition / Ultimate Edition, whatever. You get the 3 days of early access to the game, Season Pass with 20 plus characters from specifically Daima and Superhero, aka DLC 1, 2, and 3. It also included the SHALLOT pack, okay, which was the last minute thing that they just revealed that nobody even knew was coming. You know, they only confirmed the 3 DLCs, Superhero, Daima 1, and Daima 2, and that was it. And then they added in the SHALLOT one in June of last year, okay? Then you also get the early access to those 3 DLCs, and then the one gift wish for Shenron and, you know, whatever else was included in Ultimate Edition. Ultimate Edition, okay, again, if you read it, if you actually read the thing, it was not necessary for a lot of people to get the Ultimate Edition. The Ultimate Edition was pretty much like, if you just wanted all this extra little shit that was included, then it's like, great, okay? So if you didn't read and you just blindly purchased it because you thought you were going to be getting, again, I guess people thought they were going to be getting infinite DLC content for the end of time on this game. I don't know. But yeah, that's what you're paying for. That's what you're paying for, okay? A lot of it has to do with the early access, okay? Oh, you get to play these DLC characters early. You get to play the game early, right? You know, all the DLC characters that are included in it. You get that pre-order bonus, early unlock shit or whatever. Yeah, it was just a bunch of little shit, okay? And then people also will use the argument, well, I bought the collector's edition. I spent $200 on this. And it's like, what the fuck, bro? What are we doing? Why are we getting upset that we paid for collector's physical products, right? Like, I think that's so funny. Like, they show you what you get. They're telling you what you get in this shit. You know what I mean? And people are still going to be mad. And they're going to be very mad at me in the comments about this. Like, oh, you're corporate liquor. Fuck you. You know, you just suck Bandai's dick all the time. And it's like, no, this is not even a Bandai thing. This is a video game thing. This is just how shit is, right? They told you this is what you're getting in this. If it's something that you want to get, buy it, right? But I'm telling you right now, a lot of people, they didn't give a shit. They were so excited to buy this game and play it as soon as possible with early access that they bought the most expensive shit. You know what I mean? And I'm somebody who has bought this game multiple times on multiple consoles. I even bought the game multiple times and gave it away to people. I did like 10 giveaways for people. And I also bought the collector's edition too. So if anybody can say and be mad at Bandai or whoever about this, it's me. And there are things that I am upset about, right, with how it released. Obviously, you know, the way that this game released was not ideal, okay? The whole situation with them wanting and having to drop this shit at the same... They had to drop it on the same day as Daima's first episode release date was a fucking mistake. That was biggest fumble of all time. They were very stupid for doing that, and that caused this whole situation where people 2 years later are still very pissed off about this whole thing, okay? Again, rightfully so for some of this stuff, but at the same time, you know, people are acting like this is like a dog shit game when it really isn't. It never really was a bad game, okay? There were a lot of issues. There were issues about it. But at the end of the day, if the game was bad, people didn't play the fuck out of it like the first month it came out. I'm telling you, the amount of like positivity and excitement over this game and how much people have invested hours and like, you know, days into this game when it first came out is actually hilarious because of how the switch up happened so quickly after that, right? Like, you played as, you got everything out of the game. Again, to me, if something is bad, right? If I buy a product and it's bad, I don't play the shit out of it. I don't use the shit out of it and then say it's bad. Like, that's just me, okay? Maybe it's different for other people. I just find that funny, okay? But yeah, again, people are going to be mad at me and they're going to say that I defend Bandai and all that shit over and over again when I've been very vocal about the issues, pushed for a lot of issues to get fixed, and, you know, a lot of things did improve and get fixed, but people don't give a shit about that anymore because they just don't care about the game, right? Which, you know, it is what it is, okay? So, another thing that's pretty funny, okay, If you're all going to be mad about Sparking Zero doing this stuff, let's be consistent, okay? Let's be consistent with all the other Dragon Ball games, okay? Not only did Dragon Ball Z Kakarot do the same shit, okay, but also Dragon Ball FighterZ did the same exact thing, right? Again, it's a very polarizing discussion to have about this, but another thing that people didn't like about what's going on with Sparking Neo, okay, is the fact that they did this thing where they replaced the Ultimate Edition with the Legendary Edition, okay? And the Legendary Edition is, here's the argument that's being made, is that it's $90, okay? It's cheaper than the $110 I think we spent on the Ultimate Edition, okay? And this basically replaces this. You cannot get the Ultimate Edition again. Again, I understand what people are saying. I understand the frustration and the anger. You have the right to be mad about that. But at the same time, we have to be, we have to read, okay? And right now, the reason why this is so much cheaper is because there is a sale. There's a special sale going on. If you have PlayStation Plus, which you have to pay for, okay, then you can get a 25% discount, okay? And this offer ends within like a couple of weeks, right? This is a limited time. This isn't how, they're not selling you this definitively forever. No. It's $120. This is intended to be $120, okay? So $10 extra on top of what you paid for, right? Makes sense. And not only that, this shit's old. A lot of this shit is old. The only thing that you, like, this is what you should be viewing this as, okay? The Legendary Edition, you're spending full price for Sparking Neo because people were saying, well, if they're charging only this much, then why is the Neo DLC full price? Well, it just dropped. Do you think they're going to drop the Neo DLC and it's going to be discounted? What's the point of charging $35 if they're going to discount that, right? No, it's the new DLC. They're obviously going to sell it full price, right? That's just how it works for not only this, every game. Every video game that drops, you think a game that drops at launch is going to be discounted at launch? Maybe that existed. I don't know. I've never seen that before in my entire life. Nintendo, PlayStation, Xbox, your favorite game companies, you're going to be paying full price for something at launch, okay? So when it comes to this shit, let's be real. Let's be fair among all these companies, right? It's going to be the same thing. But the reason why this is discounted is because they were like, oh shit, we got to try to sell this to new people, right? And if you're going to be selling this, because, a lot of these companies, they're going to try and get as many new people to play the game as possible. Let's discount this, okay, with Neo Edition, right? For example. Now, this is the one that just includes Neo's DLC. That's it. You get the base, Neo's DLC, and that's pretty much it, right? I think that's it. Is there anything else included in this? Let me see here. Yeah, that's it. Sparking Zero, base game, and Sparking Neo, okay? So this right here is basically your Tenkaichi 2 in a sense, okay? But if you want to spend more, okay, $120, you can get basically everything that was also included in the Season Pass 1, right? Look at all this shit that you get included in this one. So this is Ultimate Edition. This is basically Ultimate Edition, and you also get that super limit-breaking Neo DLC as well, okay? So $120, right? That's a lot of money. That's still a lot of money right there. But, as new DLC and new content releases from a game that's 2 years old, right? Stuff, in a sense, is going to be cheaper, okay? So that's why this was, in a sense, like, cheaper right now, temporarily, okay, until this deal goes up, okay? And again, like I said, FighterZ did the same thing. They completely replaced that Ultimate Edition that they had with the Legendary Edition, okay? These games will do that because they want to, because it's old now, okay? And the sales on the game have decreased significantly. Not many people are buying these games anymore because they already own it, right? So they're going to make a good deal for the most part. That's, oh, well, here's our argument, guys. We have every single DLC that is ever released for this game packaged into this, into the base game with it. There you go, right? That makes sense, right? That makes sense. So this anger that the DLC is not being, the DLC is not free because they're releasing cut content. Again, I don't know, man. A lot of this content is not, you can't say it's cut when they had to make all this from scratch. Like, I think people are thinking, oh, because Tenkaichi 1, 2, and 3, or, Tenkaichi 3, for example, had all these other characters like you know, Grandpa Gohan and Demon King Piccolo in Super 17, for example, okay? Because those games had all those characters in there, they're supposed to be in the base game of this, right? I can understand the argument, but at the same time, it's like, again, it was the Daima bullshit. They try to rush this out as soon as possible, so they were like, okay, we have to make sure we include all the most important characters we possibly can into this base game before it releases, and then after the game releases, they have to focus on Superhero 1, Daima 2, and Daima 3, okay? Daima fucked up this game. I'm gonna keep saying it. Daima had fucked this game up, okay? If this game released 2 years when it was supposed to release, okay? I'm talking when Sparking Zero Neo dropped, okay? If the full game released then, you would have got everything. I think. Okay, I can't say definitively or not, because I feel like there would still be content that is not in there. Like, but instead of Superhero and Daima, right, we would have got all the Neo shit, right? And then they would have sold you Superhero and Daima after that, right? So you would have to wait 2 years, and you probably likely wouldn't get Superhero and you wouldn't get Daima, okay? They would do that shit. Even though that content had already been shown and already been released, they wouldn't include it in the base, okay? Because for whatever reason, a lot of these games and things, they're gonna sell like the like most recent stuff as DLC, even though it's been out for a very long time. They just do that shit, okay? I guarantee you they're gonna do that with Xenoverse 3. When Xenoverse 3 drops, Superhero, maybe if we're lucky, will be included in the base, but I feel like Daima, right? I feel like Daima, they're gonna make it be DLC. And I can't say that definitively or not, but I just feel like that's how they would do that shit, okay? And that is dumb, right? That is dumb. But again, you're always gonna see some dumb shit like this from any of these companies. They're gonna sell you all this stuff after, you know, the shit has been out forever, right? So when it comes down to it, like, it's a fucking mess. It really is, okay? That's what I'm saying. It's like, there are some things that you have to be reasonable about, like actually reading the description of this stuff and being like, okay, this is what I'm getting, right? And the same thing goes for the base game. They showed everything that was going to be included in the base game, from demo footage and even like pre-release footage and everything. Like, there were a lot of videos out there that showed the full game. I believe Globku, one of the most popular Sparking Zero videos of all time, that I think has like almost 1 million views on it, okay? He showed you guys everything that was going to be pretty much included in the base game, like a general idea of everything that was going to be in it. And they even showed all the outfits, right? They showed all the like customization and stuff, and people still bought the game. They bought the game. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy, man. So if you can find enjoyment and fun out of it, and you're willing to be able, and you're like actually able to enjoy every single piece of content that's included in it, it's going to be worth it to you, right? Bandai doesn't pay. They are not paying me. They are not telling me, they're not buying this DLC for me. My own hard-earned money, I spent it twice, okay, on Steam and on PlayStation, and I will buy it again on Nintendo Switch whenever it drops later on, because I will be playing it on Switch too, okay? I enjoy the game. I do enjoy the game, okay? There are a lot of people out there that are saying, like, you don't play the game. You don't fucking play the game. I've seen that shit. It's crazy, dude. It's crazy. Even though I've made so much content on the game, I've tried to push for the game to improve and do things with the game. I play the game on my own time when I can. Obviously, I do not play this game every single fucking day, right? Because that's unrealistic. I have my own life. I have my own things that I want to do. There are other games that I like to play. There are other things I want to do. I cannot be on this game 24/7 just because, you know, people think that's how it should be. No, that's unrealistic, okay? If that's what you will do, and that's how much you play the game, you know, good for you. Good for you. I'm glad. I hope you enjoyed this game that much, okay? But yeah, I think it's just, again, I understand. I understand where you're coming from. I do think that there are things that were included in this DLC that could have easily been in the base game, or could have been free as an update, right? Like, let me just give you an example, okay? Because some of the stuff here that we're seeing, playable character wise, okay, there are I can't say that any of these characters, the actual characters themselves, should have been in the base. You can make that argument, right? But it would, again, this game would have released like much later, okay? You wouldn't have got it in 2024, okay? And as many people that was like, oh my god, when is it? Release date now, give me the release date. I want this game as soon as possible, okay? Yeah, there's no way that they were going to be able to include everything at launch or whatever. Like, it's just not, that's not possible. You have no idea how many people were actually on the dev team for this shit, okay? And notoriously, I mean, at least from what we've seen and heard, Spike Chunsoft does not have a huge, like, dev team, right? It's not a big team that's developing this, and they develop other games too. So we have no idea how many people were actually working on this game, okay? So when it comes down to it, I can't really say that these characters should have been in the base, okay? Now, the customization, yes, okay? A lot of the customization, I think, could have been in the base. When it's just outfits specifically, okay? That's one thing that I will say is a little bit weird from Sparking Zero's base, is that just the lack of customization. Okay, maybe some of the attacks, because the attacks and the animations, there's a lot more time and effort being put into that. But just like outfits, like, I think outfits, they could have like, you know, hauled ass on a couple of, on some of them, right? Some of the really important ones, okay? So yeah, customization I can get. Stages, that one's tough just because the stages are so much more detailed than what you got in these old games, right? That's why we still don't have a lot of them, okay? Because they're just putting so much effort into the detail. They're putting a lot of time and effort into the, what's it called? The, like, stage destruction and stuff. Like, Tenkaichi, excuse me, 1, 2, and 3, they were not as detailed as that, okay? I mean, you obviously, right? So, yeah, I think the argument that, like, you know, a lot of these stages should have been in the base, I understand, I get, but you have to also see how much more work and time is being put into the details of these stages, okay? And they did give us 3 free stages in a sense, right? They made the Rocky Land Valley or whatever, which that was kind of, you know, just like a bluish version, right, of Rocky Land. Molten Lava was definitely different. There was a lot of excuse me, changes on that. And then City Ruins, Clear Skies, that was pretty much the same thing as well. But it's like, you know, those, hey, they were at least free, so we'll take it. Now, the solo mode, I definitely think should have been free as well. I said this before it even came out, okay, and I will stand by this. The super limit breaking journey, that's dumb that they're charging money for that, okay? I get why they do it, because it's like Dragon Sim, and between Tenkaichi 1 and 2, I don't remember Tenkaichi 1 having Dragon Sim, okay? I think Tenkaichi 2 or Tenkaichi 3 did have it, right? So they have to add that later, so in a sense, they would charge you an extra $60 for the game package, so it's like, okay, I get it, but at the same time, it's like a lot of the stuff that was integrated into this, at the end of the day, even though it's a new mode, and like there's like RPG elements, leveling up your character and doing things, at the end of the day, the gameplay, you're just playing Sparking Zero, right? So that could have been a free mode along like survival and, you know, fucking Mission 100 and stuff. I think it should have been, okay? But they did add a ton, and I mean a ton of new interactions on this as well, which I know some people don't give a fuck about, right? But, you know, somebody like me or somebody who really loves the interactions that they include in this games do. So it's like, I can see why a lot of that effort, because, you know, they got to pay the voice actors for this shit, right? I was talking with Damon Mills, who does the, voice direction and all that stuff for these Dragon Ball games more recently. And he said that the bulk of their recording that they did this entire year went specifically towards this mode, okay? That just goes to show that they did a lot of new lines. Like, there are, like, probably thousands of new fucking lines that they added in this, okay? So I can understand them charging for this, but at the same time, I think this is something specifically that they should have compromised on, okay? And I've said that, you know, in replies and stuff to, like, a lot of people on Twitter and shit. This mode, I think they could have made that free, okay? And I think it should have been free, okay? But it's like, I understand everything else they're charging for. But, yeah, at the end of the day, I mean, $35, right? That's as much as the season pass, the first season pass. And you get way more content, okay? First season pass had just characters. You got one outfit and then the free update stage for Daima, and that was it. This one, you're getting literally everything that a Tenkaichi sequel would have provided you with, okay? You're getting a lot more characters, 33 characters, 20 new customization items, or 20 plus new customization items. I can't remember the specific number. You're getting the new story thing or whatever, where it's like the Limit Breaker journey, okay? And then you're also getting new story as well, which was the, what was it? Now, hold on. Did they specify that that's part of it? I don't know. But yeah, story was included in this update along with the game as well, okay? You had Krillin, Yamcha, Tien, and Perfect Cell got their new story mode scenarios. I'm pretty sure it was paid because I did remember a what was it? A tweet somebody put on there where it said that it was included. Like if you try to go to Krillin story mode, for example, if you didn't purchase the DLC, it says included in the Neo DLC. Like you have to buy it. So I'm pretty sure that's it, but I don't know why they're not showing that on here. That's weird. I'm not seeing it anywhere on here. Yeah, that's weird. I don't know. Maybe it's like included in solo mode or whatever. Something like that. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, for some people it's going to be more worth it. For a lot of other people, it's not. Okay, and I understand why. And I think another issue that comes into play with this is there are going to be some characters or some items or some things, some, not a lot, all, okay, that people want, but you have to spend $35 to get that one playable character. Like they're forcing you pretty much to buy everything, you know, to just maybe if you only want to play Bardock, for example, Super Saiyan Bardock or Super 17. And I think that's stupid as well. And again, I have already said this. It would have been better if they kind of released like smaller packs throughout the year instead of having to wait almost a whole ass year for this big DLC to drop, right? I think it just would have been better like that. And people were going to be like, well, then you would have had to pay more money or something like that. And it's like, well, I mean, you could have just, what they could have done is just sold you the $35 DLC, right? For example, okay? And they already kind of showed, for the most part, a lot of the stuff that was included, and treat it like a season pass. Bandai Namco themselves said that this is basically the equivalent of a season pass, but instead of, you know, like gradual releases, they just dropped it all at once, okay? Because it's like, at least with Daima Pack 1 and 2 and then Superhero, you could pick and choose which pack you wanted, right? If you didn't get the season pass. Because some people, they don't give a fuck about Daima. Or some people maybe didn't give a fuck about Superhero. And maybe they only wanted Super Saiyan 4 Goku. Or they just wanted Beast Gohan, for example. Okay, so it's like you would not have to fork up a full 35, you know, at that point. But yeah, it's a crazy discussion to have. Again, there are some things about it that are, you know, valid with complaints, and I understand, okay? And then some things are just kind of like silly where it's like the, you know, this should have came with the season pass. Like that's just not how it works. It's not how it works. But again, I understand the sentiment, the feeling of, oh, like they scammed us or whatever. I get it, but at the same time, it's not like they had all this stuff done and ready, right? And they just didn't release it with the base game. No, none of this stuff was done. Everything that was included in Neo was not content that was ready to go, or even like a percentage was ready. All they had in the data mine, which people will bring up, is that they had the IDs. It was literally just IDs. So it's like, okay, well, eventually in the future, when we can sit down and have the time to polish all this up, create it from scratch and everything, which they had to do, that's when we're going to get into it, okay? So I just wish they didn't have that shit in the data, and that's why they try to stay away from, you know, releasing like demos and things, because people will data mine and be like, oh, well, I found this content in there, and you know, all that stuff, and you know, that's just how it ends up being. So, yeah, it's a crazy situation, man. I know I yapped a lot about this, but I just wanted to get my thoughts and opinions about it. I also wanted to, you know, tell you guys whether or not, you know, like this was like a reasonable DLC or not. And again, I'm not saying this is something that you should buy or that this is going to be worth it for you personally, because it's different for everyone, okay? Whatever is included in this, okay, there are some things that I think should have been free and some things that I think should have been paid. For me personally, it was worth the money, okay, because for obvious reasons, right? But for a lot of other people, $35, no, not worth it at all, okay? So you're a grown-ass adult, right? And you can make the decision for yourself whether or not this is a DLC that's worth it. The content, everything that's included, it's public. They showed it in the description, okay? For whatever reason, not showing the story mode, right? The story mode is also included in this, okay? For the 4 new episodes. And it's online. Go watch videos. You know how many people made content on this, okay? Including myself. Like, we have tons of videos going over, like, what you get. I did a whole breakdown of all 33 characters and all 20 plus customization items, okay? Like, for the most part, I showed you guys most of the shit that you're getting in this, okay? So if none of that shit is interesting, none of that shit's good to you, do not fucking spend $35. Don't spend $35, okay? If anything, I would argue just don't even buy it. Really, don't even buy it, because who knows if this game is going to be relevant to a lot of people within the next, like, couple of days now, okay? Now that the game is this DLC has been out for like a week, people are just going to be like, all right, I'm tired of it. I played everything out of it, and it's going to be sparking 0 again. It's the same situation, okay? This game, it's for every game. A game that comes out like this, okay, you're going to play all the content. You're going to get the most out of it, okay, for the most part, because the only thing, if you're not playing PvP, I mean, like, what else are you going to do? I guess you can do Super Limit Breaking Neo and all this other shit with the Limit Breaker Journey and shit, right? So it's like, okay, it's up to you what you want to pick and choose, okay? So, yeah, wait for it to go on sale if you really want it that badly. If you haven't purchased it yet, but if you already bought it, like, that's on you. That is on you, okay? They showed you what was included. You made a decision, all right, this is the DLC for me. I'm getting it. And then you're going to get it. You're going to play all of it and everything, and then complain after? Like, come on. What are we doing? What are we doing? But yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.
This is Broly, and you are watching SLOplays. Make sure to subscribe, or else I'll destroy your entire planet!